It's Thursday, December 4th, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. This system here, a very tricky one because a huge surge of moisture is building. You see it right here, Louisiana, Mississippi. We could see 6 inches of rain in spots, but here's the deal. This moisture feed across Mexico, parts of Texas, building and staying intact for days to come. And with that, we'll be watching to see that cold air from the north kind of meeting this moisture feed. You already see some of that snow that we've been seeing right through here, parts of North Texas, swinging back toward Oklahoma City, kind of on the back side of this, watching this as well as we work our way back toward New Mexico, and this huge moisture feed moving toward Alabama, parts of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and then the icing will be a concern. I want to show you that, zoom down to Tennessee, Virginia, as we cover the mid-Atlantic. We'll get into all of that, Tennessee River Valley. Icing, a big concern out of this, along with the snow totals. Here's that moisture feed, the cold air from the north trying to meet it. So this is really a southern system, a southern moisture feed. But that cold air will be moving in. Watching this, some snow for the Atlantic region of Canada and some rain. I'm going to zoom down here in a moment. I'll zoom down here. We're going to zoom down over here as well. Not leaving anyone out on this channel with these systems moving in. Here's that moisture feed across Mexico, Texas, still some of the rain, Louisiana. There's some of the snow. We'll zoom down into this sector, very specific with the snow totals and the icing in just a second. But I just want to give you the big picture, how we'll see all of this rain right through Friday. This is our Friday afternoon, and then you see this system trying to depart the Avalon Peninsula in Newfoundland, and a new system dropping in. That's why I want to show you these higher totals here. Some of the snow, of course, across the mountains here. This will be diving down, but look what happens as we go out in time here. This is Saturday. It's still intact from Mexico, swinging all the way back toward North Carolina, some of the heavy pockets of rain. And here's a little sneaky area diving down, kind of that Alberta Clipper, if you will, swinging back toward parts of Nebraska, Iowa. So we'll get into these snow totals as well. But this here is by Sunday and still dealing with some of the heavier rain, parts of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Meanwhile, it's getting a little bit more active, Pacific Northwest, over toward British Columbia, with these new systems moving in, some of the snow totals piling up, rain totals piling up, and with this moisture feed here, some of this energy will lift to the north again by the time we get into Monday. So several areas to track, not only through the weekend, but as we work our way into next week as well, with some new systems moving in. Now, let me touch on this first because this is important, the icing, and then we'll get to the snow totals. This is where we could get some freezing rain in spots, especially those surfaces that get a little bit colder than other surfaces. We could get some freezing rain. So we get a look here. Here's Asheville, Greensboro, just to give you a feel of that. Danville right through here as we work our way into extreme southern sections of Virginia. So we swing back through North Carolina. Here's Knoxville, by the way. Watching out for some of that icing that will be possible. Brevard back through Asheville. Watching over toward Hickory and then swinging right back toward Greensboro. So you get near 85. Watching out for some of that icing that will be a potential. At least some sleet trying to mix in, but more so a bit of a concern with some of that icing. Then we swing back here. A little bit hard to fine, but I never want to leave this out as we swing back toward parts of Tennessee. Here's Jackson, for example, and you see right across 40, a little bit of that green popping up. Here's Waverly, Linden, and we swing back toward Nashville, and you see some of that icing that will be a possibility. So it doesn't take much heads up, especially the bridges and just some of those areas around your home. Some of the metal surfaces may get some icing, those surfaces that can cool down a little bit quicker. So here's a look at the closer look. I want to take it to different sectors, then cover those snow totals in different sectors. You can see that mix right in through here. But this here, the very heavy rain, that flood potential, parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. This surge lifts toward Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. This is by the time we work our way into midnight tonight. North side of this, there's that cold air sweeping in. Beckley, South Bluefield right here, extreme southern West Virginia and southern sections of Virginia with some of the snow. Watching over toward Asheville for some of that icing. That's what I mentioned. Here's Winston-Salem. You get over toward Wake Forest, some snow or at least a mix in through here. And as we work our way through our Friday morning, here's some of the snow swinging back through Virginia, extreme northern sections of North Carolina, lifting up toward Richmond, get over toward Norfolk, Virginia Beach, the Tidewater area. Watching out for a mix of rain and snow kind of on the back side of this. This is by the afternoon. Looking at to see some rain across Delmarva, parts of Delmarva, Salisbury, for example. But as this moisture kind of lifts away, there could actually be a little bit of snow kind of squeaking in on the back side of that. So I'll be watching that. A little bit of snow in here, but look at that rain sweeping all the way back through here. Here's Louisiana, Mississippi, same areas getting additional rain totals. That's why that is a big concern for some flooding in some spots with those really high rain totals, upwards of 6 inches in some locations. Now, as we work our way to the north, sector by sector, then we'll get into the snow totals. This is back to later today. You see, as we work our way through Nova Scotia, backside sweeping in some of that snow. Avalon Peninsula, maybe some rain, but much of Newfoundland will be dealing with some of that snow right through here. This energy kind of pivots around, but look what happens by the time we get into tomorrow morning, just kind of spinning off the coast, switching over to some snow as we work our way over toward St. John's. And there's the center of this kind of lifting away, but backside still getting clipped by some of that snow as we work our way into our Friday afternoon. Much of New England swinging back toward New Brunswick on the quieter side, if you will. Now we swing back here, Pacific Northwest, swinging back toward British Columbia, watching Alberta, keeping everyone covered. You see that rain working in heavy at times, coastal sections, of course, when that moisture hits the higher terrain, we have some of that snow. So this is our Friday afternoon. Here's Idaho, right through here, Spokane, right on the edge of rain and some of that snow. Some of the rain will be heavy over toward Medford, back toward Eugene, but then as this moisture pulls in, you see scraping across parts of Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, some additional snow that will be moving in, and then more systems. This is our Saturday afternoon, very active pattern that will be coming in, but then we get that spillover back toward Utah, back toward Colorado with some additional snow, and then that little clipper system, if you will, kind of working its way back down to the south, parts of Nebraska, watching that, South Dakota, over toward Iowa. Quick shot of some snow, just kind of depending on where that sets up. Now, let's go sector by sector with some of the snow totals. I mentioned extreme southern sections of West Virginia, back toward Virginia, North Carolina, northern sections with that possibility of some snow. So we're swinging right back through here, southern Virginia. That's where we could see some of the totals getting at least a couple inches of snow. And then we work our way back toward Roanoke and then swinging back toward Bluefield. Here's Beckley. I mentioned Beckley on the edge. Charleston, this is all staying to the south and back toward the east. But seeing some of the Richwood, we may be on the edge of it as well. But seeing some of these snow totals upwards of about 2 inches of some rain. We get into North Carolina, watching some totals that will not be too high. There's not a ton of moisture on the north side of it. It's just where that cold air is kind of meeting that could give us a couple inches of snow in some spots. Lifting to the north, watching out for some additional snow, of course, watching out for some of the lake effect as well. So you could pick a spot on the map where you are keeping everyone covered as we swing back toward Quebec, Ontario, and then back through the Great Lakes, Wisconsin, getting back toward Michigan, watching over toward New York again, keeping an eye on kind of what's coming off of Ontario as far as that moisture feed, and then watching over toward parts of Vermont and New Hampshire, just with some additional snow cover. This is over the next 3 days. And then we swing here, and I don't, that data sector cuts off. I don't leave anyone out. So we swing back here. Here's the Avalon Peninsula, but we get to the north. That's where we could see 5, even 6 inches of rain, or excuse me, snow in parts of Newfoundland. Now that little system kind of diving down, I mentioned, from British Columbia, Alberta. Look at Sioux Falls, Sioux City. We could see some spots that get a quick 3 to 4 inches of rain. Now, as far as where this goes, and maybe a little bit more over here, maybe a little bit more over here, but either way, diving down right across Bismarck, Aberdeen, and then swinging down towards Sioux Falls, some of that additional couple shots of snow. Now, this is all going to be adding on over the next few days. Some with what's happening in the Pacific Northwest, that energy will be moving back toward parts of Utah, Wyoming, over toward Colorado. So some additional snow totals, of course, across the higher terrain. I mentioned the rain right along the coast, but watching out for that additional snow coming out of British Columbia, Alberta, south, back through parts of Idaho and swinging back toward Montana and Wyoming. So some additional snow totals that will be with us. So big southern moisture feed. Don't want to lose sight of the rain as well. I mentioned those totals. Southern sections of Louisiana, Mississippi, even Alabama, pressing 6 inches of rain. So that flooding will be a potential, but then that cold air kind of meets it. The areas of ice that I mentioned, Tennessee, back through Virginia, parts of North Carolina and West Virginia, and some of that snow, kind of that quick shot of some snow where it could get a couple inches of rain. and then those new systems working into the Pacific Northwest. So we'll be watching how those evolve through the weekend right into next week. So thank you for being part of this channel. Be careful if you're dealing with some of the ice. Keep me posted in the comments what you got going on or even not going on in your location, if you have snow, if you have rain, that sort of thing, as we continue to build this weather community. Have a good day ahead.